Christo Stemmet, Sun Valley Minerals, welcome to the Italian Riviera. What's it like to be here?
Oh, it's wonderful. Like it's first time in Italy and beautiful scene. Got a delay last night, but happy to be here. It's very nice.
Once you get here, it's nice. Eh? It does take a little bit of effort to get through Rapallo, and I think there was a few people who had travel delays, but thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now we're here to talk about a brand new company, so brand new that it's not even listed at the moment. Sun Valley Minerals is a private company. Christo, how did you become the founder and the CEO of Sun Valley Minerals? And that's you personally, and what are your plans for the company so investors can actually become shareholders?
Yeah, so a bit of a background on Sun Valley. Obviously private, there's not even a website yet. We are looking to list in Q1, so a lot of things coming in the coming months here. How it came about, back in 2019, I was involved in a company that was doing diamond exploration in Botswana. While down there, I met a Uruguayan geologist, showed me some interesting things. Shortly after, hopped over to Uruguay and basically incorporated the local company, restaked areas that beat it all. Actually went back 2010 to 2012. And last trip before COVID, so went into a little bit of a hibernation while we were waiting for permits to get granted. And since kind of mid 2023, we've been hitting it hard in building a big land position along that belt.
So Uruguay, all I know about Uruguay is it's next to Argentina. If you cross that big river, you get from Buenos Aires to Montevideo, the capital of Uruguay. Does it have a history of mining or of gold exploration or discovery or production?
No, so historically it's been an agriculture-focused country. Obviously, as you mentioned, nestled in between, where you have Brazil in the north, you have Argentina in the south. But interestingly as well, if you put the two continents, South America and Africa, back together, it's right next to Namibia.
Oh, okay.
So some of the terrains that you find in Uruguay, geological terrains, is very similar to some of the terrains in Namibia, where obviously there's been a lot of multiple million-ounce discoveries being made in Namibia.
Okay.
But just never been looked at as a mining country.
So should we think of those Namibian ore bodies, the Ochukotos or the Navachebs, which are a couple of million ounces at a couple of grams? Is that what we should think of as potential analog discoveries that you might make?
Somewhat similar, a few things. So there are some similarities to the projects you'd see in Namibia. I think for us, maybe if you're familiar with the company Labras Gold, who's basically
in Brazil.
They're in Brazil. So we're on the same belt as Labras.
Oh, okay.
50 kilometers to the northeast of us. Same kind of age dates for mineralization. What we see at our projects, particularly at the Tariman project, which is a flagship, we've now staked about 50 kilometers of that belt. We own all the historical data that was derived there, very limited drilling. Over that whole area, there's been 8,000 meters of drilling done in the past. So very, very little. Just 2 weeks ago, we got granted our last kind of very core license that is very important for us. And that actually puts us in a position where now we have about 30 kilometers of visible gold appearances at surface. It's like beads on a chain kind of thing. And these things have been put together in a fairly short period of time. It's got very little work done in between these three different prospects, all along strike. To give you a better idea of the scale potential there at Tariman, we've expanded the historical soil footprint to where it's now 3 kilometers by 1.5 kilometers gold and soil.
Right.
At Plumas Doradas, which is 15 kilometers to the north of it, again, no work in between. That's about a 2.5 kilometer long soil anomaly. It's very similar to Labras's LDS project. Then, far to the south, we have Kiana, which is also a 3 kilometer long soil deposit or soil anomaly. And that has seen some historical trenches. There's been no drilling, very little work done. So really, really high grade, lots of gold over tens of kilometers, big system.
So what?
Big discovery.
So, I mean, you mentioned that B2 had done some work on some of the properties that Sun Valley owns, is that right?
Yeah.
And they were there in Uruguay on these properties when?
So that was from the end of 2010 to about the end of 2012. So that's right before they developed the Ochukoto mine in Namibia.
Oh, I see. So that was their geological analog. They were thinking about Namibia as potentially similar to Uruguay, were they?
I'm not sure what the analog was there, but certainly from our perspective, end of 2012, B2 received the mining permit for Ochukoto, and they shortly after started developing a fat mine.
And why would they have left Uruguay and left the properties that you're now working with?
Can't really give an answer to that, but the best that we can kind of figure is that it's just an example of them kind of moving to more of a developer type.
Okay,
And this is correct.
right, this is the earlier stage.
Yeah.
Any other notable mining companies involved today in Uruguay or in the past? Or maybe you could talk about your strategic partners as well and what they think about Uruguay.
Yeah, so there's been very limited work done in Uruguay. It's seen a little bit of a burst of exploration back in the 80s to the 90s and again in the early 2000s. The largest historical mine, San Gregorio, produced about 1.5 million ounces.
Okay.
Back in the day, there was...
Is that 100 years ago or 50 years ago? Or?
Actually closed down in 2016.
Okay.
That was operated by Orosur last. It's the last listed company. At the moment, we're the only company in Uruguay. Historically, it's been looked at, there's no large-scale mining activity. Everything that's been looked at in the past is kind of small-scale, high-grade, easily accessible. So part of our strategy, being a first mover in Uruguay, is to really go and look at all these kind of historical occurrences where there's been good results. There's been a small-scale operation where we now see regional potential, and we're restaking those areas. One thing that's counted in our benefit, B2Gold left the end of 2012. 5 years after they left, 2017, the government of Uruguay came up with regional aeromag data that gave us a whole new perspective of the country of Uruguay, and it's something that could not have been seen by past workers.
Right.
So we really do have that advantage, first do that advantage of going in and picking up some of the better areas.
So the government itself shot the aeromag for the benefit of the future mineral developers. Okay. And then have you got any important strategic shareholders, and how do they think of Uruguay in the world of gold?
Yeah, so we have, even as a private company now, in November last year, Kinross came in for 9.9%.
Kinross Gold?
Kinross Gold. So they've been on site before. They're actually going to site again tomorrow. And more recently, in the financing that closed last month, we brought in Altius Minerals that came up to 9.2%.
Okay.
Board and management still owns about 26% of the company. We have a few other institutional shareholders, very, very tightly held, very high profile, high net worth individuals.
People that know what they're doing.
What we've been doing. Uruguay is a specific case. The government is very focused on getting the right people involved. There's a lot of assurances that you need to provide to government. They want to be sure that you have a long-term view. I simply think the entry is more difficult than most other places, but I think it's a good thing. There's a lot of environmental work to do even ahead of our very early applications, and there's a timeline into that as well. So we've been there for 5 years now. We've done the legwork. We built that project pipeline. We're at a point now where we have areas where we can drill and trench. We have areas where we can do earlier stage stuff, and then you have a bunch of other applications in the pipeline that's going to come online in the coming months and years. So
I think the thing that normally makes shares go up is if you drill and find some gold. What are your plans to go drilling? And then as a private company, is there any plan to come to market in the near future?
Yeah, so just some of the past results, we are currently trenching. Trenching has been going well. Our personal best trench to date, surface trench, 50 meters at just over 2 grams, which I think is quite a good result. Historical best trench in the project is 88 meters at 2.5 grams. Historical best drill hole is 25 meters at 5.5 grams starting approach the surface, and it's quite a few of them.
28 meters at 5.5 grams.
25 meters at 5.5 grams.
Okay, that was drilled by B2 or somebody?
That was drilled by B2Gold.
Okay.
Very different geological model or approach at the time. Some orogenic setting. Orientation here is quite important. The geophysics that came out in 2017 allowed us to see some structures that we followed up on that enable us to have a very different thesis of what we think brought up the majority of the gold. Different orientation again. So our drilling will definitely be designed in a different orientation, different kind of approach to it. So right now, trenching, looking at finishing the 5,000 meter trenching program by the end of this year. We're looking to complete an IP survey so we can see if there's any deep targets here for you to think about. We're planning to go public in Q1 next year.
Okay, which exchange are you thinking?
TSXV, where we'll go.
That's where Lavras is listed, is it? TSXV?
On the TSXV as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So for us right now, when you go through this listing period, there's a little bit of a period when you find your 43-101 where you found too much work on the project. So we want to get as much data in as we can before that. So we are able to go out immediately after listing and start drilling.
Okay. So it's now September 2025. You'll be listed by Q1 or March 26 and drilling immediately thereafter. So drill results by say June of 26?
Very likely. Yeah, maybe even earlier. We are in the process of also acquiring a track-mounted RC rig.
Okay.
So that's going to not substitute drilling, but that will run in the background. We have very large soil anomalies. Padaman is 3 kilometers, we're 1.5 kilometers. We have multiple ounce-type grades in surface outcrop over that whole area. So we're getting the track now to drill in. So what that could do is that could do kind of shallow fence lines in the background while we're doing deeper holes with the contractor comes in.
And so if people want to know more about Sun Valley Minerals or get in touch with you, you've got no website. Is there any, apart from Arlington, is there any other way that people can get a hold of you?
Basically, you have to contact me.
Okay, so Christo Stemmet, Sun Valley Minerals. And did you mention to me in the past that Haywood have been helping as a broker? Was that?
Haywood is in there as well, yeah.
So who would be the Haywood broker that people might be able to find?
So David Elliott is...
David Elliott. Okay, he's a well-known guy.
Andrew Williams.
And Andrew Williams.
Been involved.
Okay.
For a little while as well.
So David Elliott, Andrew Williams at Haywood, or myself, Simon Catt, Arlington Cat Calls. Yeah.
Or you can just reach out to the website coming soon, so that information will come out.
How long until the website comes out?
Probably in the next couple of months or so.
Okay.
I've intentionally tried to maintain a low profile because we're still staking all the low-hanging fruit type stuff in Uruguay.
And is there anything else important that's happening in Uruguay in the next year or so that people should know about?
Not really. So Uruguay had a government change in March this year.
Okay.
It's a 5-year term. Government appointee and in power is quite positive. And Uruguay historically is you don't have the kind of dramatic politics that you have in some other places in the world right now. It's described by many as the Switzerland of South America. Very stable, good systems in place, well sorted out country. Things work well. Yeah, I think the table is as well set as it could be ever for us right now.
Interesting. Is there anything else people should know about Sun Valley Minerals?
Apart from that, lots of high-grade gold at surface over tens of kilometers.
Okay.
Very little historical work. We're going to do that work next year. We've been doing that work, but we're going to hit it very hard next year.
Yeah, you're going to drill it.
And it's just really tough when you're looking at an area where you have 30 kilometers of visible gold occurrences and really large soil anomalies at surface. It hasn't been followed up. I find it's very difficult to imagine if you're not going to be able to find an economic deposit in there somewhere.
Good. Well, as you know, I'm a shareholder, so I believe you. Thank you on behalf of Arlington and Cat Calls for coming to the Arlington Rapallo. I think this is your first conference, so this is your coming out party.
Very first interview like this, very first conference where we're presenting Sun Valley. So thank you for having me and giving me that platform.
A pleasure.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks.